Howdy, hey, how's everybody doing? And welcome back to Disney Daily. The official Disney princess lineup is a topic that I have covered in the past on this channel. In fact, it was the very first video I ever uploaded to Disney Daily. But I wanted to revisit this topic and make it a bit more clear and expand on it a bit further. My intention in the video today is to identify the current list of princesses and why they are on the list, as well as who isn't a part of the list and the possible reasons for why they are not included. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the official Disney princess criteria, who makes the cut and who doesn't. Now, originally there were only 8 official Disney princesses for an extended period of time, but that all changed starting the early 2000s when the princess count went up to 12, with 4 modern day princesses being added to the lineup. The 12 official princesses recognized today are as followed: Snow White, Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, Tiana, Rapunzel, Merida, and Moana. These princesses are actually officially listed on the Disney Princess website and are featured together on merchandise and can be seen alongside each other at the Disney parks. But now that we have named the princesses, it is time to explain the most important part: why and how do they make the list? Basically, to be a part of this list, you have to satisfy 2 sets of requirements. For the first set, the princesses must meet one of the 3 requirements: royalty by birth, royalty by marriage, or significant act of heroism. Snow White, the first ever Disney princess, is a double hitter, being both royalty by birth and by marriage. Sleeping Beauty is also in a similar situation to Snow White, being both royalty by birth and by marriage. Cinderella is a princess who became royal after her marriage to Prince Charming at the end of her film. Ariel, our Little Mermaid, is also a double hitter, being both royalty by birth under the sea and by marriage on land to Prince Eric. Then we have my favorite Disney princess, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, who started out as an ordinary townsfolk, but by the end of her film became royal by marriage. Jasmine of Agrabah is royalty by birth. Pocahontas is also royalty by birth, which some fans have found confusing, myself included. To put it in the simplest terms possible, it seems Disney has equated the position of chief with that of a king. Therefore, Pocahontas would be considered a princess. Our next official princess is the one who a requirement was carved out specifically for, and that is Mulan. Now, Mulan, as you may recall, was not a princess, nor does she become one. She is on this list because she performs a significant act of heroism, that significant act being that she saved a whole entire country. Next, there is the hardworking Tiana, who is royalty by marriage, just like Cinderella and Belle. Rapunzel is the next Disney princess who is royalty specifically by birth. Merida is the next Disney princess after Rapunzel, and she is also royalty by birth. And last but certainly not least, there is Moana, who is similarly situated to Pocahontas. Now, for the second set of requirements, it gets a bit more specific. In this set of requirements, the princesses must satisfy all of the requirements rather than just one, unlike in the previous set. The requirements are as followed. First, the character must be human or human-like. Now, the human-like was added in because of Ariel, since she is a mermaid. Additionally, this requirement was also a way to keep animals out of the lineup, such as Nala from The Lion King. Second, the character must be a primary lead or play a significant part in the movie. Third, the character cannot be introduced in a sequel. And the last requirement is that the film they are in cannot overperform or underperform at the box office. As you can see, each of the 12 princesses I have listed fits the bill. However, there are other Disney heroines that have been present over the years that fans have felt should be part of the lineup. In this next section, I am going to go over who they are, as well as why they have been left out of the lineup. Let's first start with 2 of the most popular female protagonists to date, in my opinion, who aren't a part of this lineup: Elsa and Anna. Now, there are technically 2 main reasons for why the Sisters of Arendelle aren't in the official princess lineup. The first reason is that their movie Frozen earned record-breaking numbers at the box office, and because the movie made so much money, Disney felt the sisters did not need to be included in the princess lineup. Instead, they could afford to have their own franchise and stand alone. It is important to note that the lineup in a lot of ways was created to keep unpopular or older princesses relevant. For example, Snow White. Although she was the first Disney princess, her popularity naturally has dipped over the years simply due to the fact that her movie isn't relevant anymore. And since Elsa and Anna were extremely popular, there was no need to put them on merchandise with the other princesses because they could essentially sell themselves. Another reason that Elsa and Anna are not a part of this list is more because of a technicality. You see, both are queens. Elsa is a queen in the first film and Anna becomes a queen at the end of the second, and it is because of that title queen that they are automatically taken out of the princess category. category. Next, I want to focus on the little green fairy Tinkerbell from Peter Pan. Believe it or not, she was once a part of this list. Tinkerbell was removed in 2005 from the lineup because Disney had other plans for her. Long story short, when Disney wanted to launch a whole series of movies and shows about fairies, they knew they had to have their most famous fairy from Neverland as the face of this launch. So Tinkerbell became the face of the Disney fairy franchise, and thus was taken off the list of princesses. Next, there is one of my favorite princesses of all time, Kida from the movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Now, at first glance, it seems as though Kida is the perfect fit to be included in the Disney princess criteria, and if you thought that she was, I wouldn't fault you for that. After all, she is a princess throughout the majority of the film, she's a human, a primary lead, but here is where Kida falls short, or at least in Disney's eyes, here is where Kida falls short. Kida was in a movie that underperformed at the box office, and remember from what I have stated previously, the character cannot be in a movie that overperforms or underperforms at the box office. It could also be argued that she doesn't fit in because she ends up a queen at the end of the movie due to the fact that her father was murdered. But every fan accepts a different reason for why she isn't included, so I'll let you decide which reason you like best. Next, there is the strong and bold Megara from the movie Hercules. Now, many have felt that Megara should be in the lineup for a number of reasons, but technically speaking, she doesn't fit the exact princess mold that Disney has outlined. Many fans have said that she is royal due to her tie to Hercules, who is, after all, the prince of the gods, since his father and mother are king and queen of Mount Olympus. However, what many fail to remember is that although Hercules does reunite with his parents at the end of the film, he doesn't take his role as prince on Mount Olympus, and instead lives a life on Earth alongside Meg. But even if he did take his place as the prince of Mount Olympus, Hercules and Meg do not get married, and so therefore she wouldn't be considered royalty by marriage. And while many, including myself, would argue her sacrificing herself for Hercules should qualify as a significant act of heroism, it sadly isn't good enough to include her. Next up, we have a fan favorite princess, Gisele from Enchanted. I have to say this character in particular has many fans confused as to why she isn't included. The answer is actually perhaps the simplest of them all. According to several sources online, Disney was advised not to make her into a Disney princess because the company would have to pay royalties to Amy Adams to use her on merchandise and character lookalikes. Now, I am not saying that is the only answer, but that is the answer that I found. So if you all have heard anything different, you're more than welcome to leave that in the comments. Next up, two more amazing female characters, Esmerelda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Jane from the movie Tarzan. Esmerelda is not a Disney princess simply because she is not royalty. Jane, on the other hand, is technically royalty because she becomes the queen of the jungle. So why is Jane not included? Well, according to an article online, Jane once was a Disney princess and was recognized as such in the official Disney Princess magazine. But many believe Disney removed Jane from the list because her dress was too similar to a certain princess who fell in love with a beast. You could also chalk it up to her being a queen instead of a princess, but again, I leave it up to you to decide which reasoning you like better. Our second to last Disney heroine I am going to mention is Raya. As of right now, Raya is not recognized as part of the official list, but I would argue that it is highly likely that she will become one. We just have to give it a bit more time. And last but not least, I wanted to mention Mirabel Madrigal because when Encanto was released, everyone was asking the question, will she be added to the princess lineup? And initially, I thought she would be added because that would make her the first Latina princess recognized in the official Disney princess lineup, which would have been huge. But now that time has gone on and I have seen how massive Encanto has become, it is safe to say that Mirabel will have the same situation as Anna and Elsa. Her movie has done so well that there was no need to group her with the other princesses and she can sell merchandise all on her own. Plus, I think it would be extremely weird to separate her from her family. Well, that concludes this episode. I hope you learned something new. If there is a Disney female lead that I have forgotten in this list, please leave it down in the comments and we will discuss it. As always, thanks for being my guest here at Disney Daily. Until next time.